Welcome, everybody, to Astrology Unplugged. I'm Rick DiClemente, and we are getting ready to go with tonight's subject, which is going to be about solar returns. And I use them often. I'll explain them to you. I will have time to do some people, and I won't have time to do others, and I'm sorry. And I'm going to encourage you. This is one reason you want to become a regular on the show, because I'm going to favor doing charts for regulars because they come all the time. And if you don't, I'm going to look away from you. And as you start to attend more and more, your odds of getting personal readings become better and better. But I remind you, I am not here to do personal readings. I'm here to teach astrology. So anyhow, I do want you to know that you becoming more of a regular will enhance your chances of getting read when certain subjects come to us. I wanted to mention a couple of things about last week, and I wish well, there's Erica. I wanted to I wish that I forget the one person's name. We were talking last week about Trump's chart. I'm going to make something clear to you. It's not that Mr. Trump has such a bad chart. That's not the issue. There are people born the same day. They're on the terrible charts. It's what he's done with it. And it's much more than that. I'm not naive. It's much more than that. It's a karmic thing. He's done something. He's been part of something in the past that has a tremendous karmic impact upon his life in this time around, to where the point that he is an avatar. There's no chance. So don't, when you see a bad chart, don't say, oh my God, it's going to really be bad. Because sometimes it's not a bad. A good chart, same thing. So you have to do a lot of astrology before you can start to declare anything. It's just that simple, because it's really hard to do and hard to evaluate. I've seen people with terrible charts, but they never get off their butt. Nothing ever happens. I've seen people with mediocre charts that rip the place upside down. So you have to study. The secret to astrology, you have to see lots of charts. So tonight we're going to start with solar returns. A solar return is every year the sun comes back to the same spot where you were born. It's actually the Earth's coming back, but on the astrology wheel, for instance, looking at Susan's chart here. Here's Susan's chart, first one on my list. So Susan's solar return happens approximately every year around December 10th. It can be the 9th, it can be the 10th, it can be the 11th. It's within one day. And the sun comes round to the same exact position, 10, 18, 10, 18, 10. 18 degrees, 10 minutes, and it's actually even finer than that. And what they do when they calculate a solar return, it's not by degree. It's does the sun line up with the same stars far away? That's how they get it exact. So that's why a lot of times I'll say to somebody like Susan, your solar return is December 9th. And so I'll always say, oh no, it's December 10th. Well, oh no, it is December 9th this year. Has nothing to do with your birthday. It's the sun coming back to the same spot. Now, I want to tell you something. There are a lot of things in astrology that are kind of sort of accurate. Composite charts, progressions, midpoint charts. You do a solar return, it's accurate. I don't know why. I've been doing this a long time, and these things are accurate. Also, I'm going to talk to you about predictions. Predictions are one of the worst things that astrologers ever got into, because that's what people think astrology is. And it's not what it is. That's what astrological abuse is. If you're looking to the planets to tell you what's going to happen in the future, then you're using it for the wrong reason, in my opinion. If you're using it to learn more about yourself, about your traits, about improving your dark side to the light side, that's for the right reason. It just so happens that a solar return bespeaks of your next year. A solar return is for one calendar year to the next calendar year, period. And it tells me clearly what your focus is going to be that year. Doesn't say you'll get rich, doesn't say you'll hit the lotto, doesn't say you're going to get sick, doesn't say you're going to get married, but it shows me your bent. What is your bent? That's why a solar return is always easier for me to read after I've been reading your natal chart for a while. And then the solar return comes up and we can see, oh, this whole thing we've been talking about all night is being verified by the solar return. Now, I'm still researching what Claudia said to me about solar fire's ability to do a solar return on any year. I'm just not sure. I'm still researching. But solar fire always does the year before the date, the current year, and the year next. Okay? Last year, next year. Last year, current year, next year. That's what you do it for. If you don't have a birth time, don't do it. The birth time's critical. So I'm going to start with the people in the order that they came in tonight. We're going to start with Naomi. I'm going to take more time on the early ones because I'm teaching about solar returns. This is not the show to come to find out about your future. You might get some future advice or thoughts, and that's good. But that's not my job. That's abusing astrology. So I'm going to go to Naomi, and you'll find out when you use astrology for the proper purposes, it's golden. It's just golden, what it shows you. So let's go to Naomi. Naomi, here's your birth chart, and I'm going to do the return chart for you. And this one, when you do it, it requires the proper city that you're in at the time. And your city is what?
Aladala. I'll spell that.
Spell that, please. Yes.
U-double-L.
I'm sorry.
U-double-L. A. Oh, no, not K. It's U.
U.
Double L. A-R. Sorry, A-D. U-double-L. A.
Well, we started off with an easy one. Okay. Now, since the solar return is so accurate, it must be done for where you are when you experience your birthday. Now, I don't care when Naomi is born. This is her solar return. This is the date and time during 2023 when the sun comes back. So you're seeing the one that started as last April and goes to next April. Okay, you're seeing the current one. I could switch this and do the one before this or the one ahead, but we're doing the current one because this is for teaching purposes, and we're going to see how this works. Now, if I had a long talk or a long reading with Naomi for the past hour, one of the things I do at the end is I do a solar return because it adds a lot of dimension. One of the really neat things I find, when I find a person that I can't get started with, you won't believe that, but I got people, I put their chart up and I don't know what to say. I'm sure Rick has the same thing. Some charts are just, they don't want to talk to you at first. They're hard to figure out. And what you don't want to do is start guessing. Because the idea is not for me to be right. The idea is for you to get direction. So sometimes I'll start a reading with a solar return. And I'll see, it looks to me like your current year, this is your focus, and this is where you're going next year. And I might even do next year's solar return to see the difference in the 2 years. Because a lot of times, one solar return will show me that you're preparing for something, and the next one will show me you implementing something. They're real, I'm telling you, accurate. So we're looking at April that just passed for Naomi until next April of 24. It's getting harder to count these numbers because there's so many of them. 24, isn't that you believe it? Oh, man. Okay, so what do we see next year? The number one thing you look for is where's the sun? Because the sun is going around. And of course, our birth time and our birth date are different, but the sun is exactly at 1938 in their birth chart and here. And this chart tells me with the sun in Aries and 4 planets in Aries in the first house and Neptune rising, well, you can see the story already. Aries people are self-oriented. When Liza and I wrote that book, we spent weeks trying to figure out what words we would use because we knew if we used the word selfish, we were going to get slapped around. And selfish was not the right word, and unselfish. So we got the right words. The words are self-oriented, other-oriented. The first 6 signs of the zodiac are self-oriented. Their focus is mainly on themselves. What happens to them in their immediate circle? Other-oriented are the last 6 signs of the zodiac who think so much of others, they don't spend enough time thinking about themselves. Now, what's interesting, you know, right away, she got 4 planets in Aries in the first house, but what she have on the ascendant? Neptune. Okay? Neptune is the opposite. Neptune is othering. It's about God's arms spread wide, thinking of everybody, being very selfless. It is the opposite of Aries energy. So what do we again do we see in her chart? And I'll show you how you resolve this. I made the mistake of taking my asthma medicine and it gets in my throat, and that's why I'm talking like a frog, so forgive me. So you see all this self, including Jupiter and Eris, and here's Neptune. What planet you think is stronger? Maybe the sun is, but Neptune's a powerhouse planet. This is think about yourself, this is think about everybody else. Think about yourself, think about everybody else. Interesting. So we see that coming into last April and April through now, April, May, June, July, August, September, last 6 months, she's going back and forth. Be more self-like, be more unself-like, be more self-like, unself-like. Okay. Now we see a T-square here between the Venus and the moon, and the T-square goes to Saturn. We'll get to that in a minute. But what this means, and this is very common with Aries, usually with Aries, they're going to put the needle towards the self. I'm here to have adventures and to test myself and see what I can do. That's what Aries is. They can be selfish about it. They can be non-selfish about it, but they're still self-oriented. But why does she put Neptune on the angle? As I was saying, what's important in these charts, where's the sun, and also what planets are on the angles? I cannot stress to you how important all charts are with planets on the ascendant, the descendant, the midheaven, the nadir. They really matter. So what I'm gathering is she came in the year 2022 on into the year 2023, driving herself nuts about, you've been too selfish. You've not been selfish enough. You've been too selfless. Oh, look, and she's hiding her face. Now, let me tell you, when somebody hides or starts crying or starts laughing, that means you got it. And you got to get it. And when they say to you, that's funny, that's when you know you're really on track. Okay? I'm telling you with experience. And when they don't say that's funny, that means you're not on track. Okay. Now she's embarrassed that as if there's something wrong with this. This is the most common internal fight that anybody ever has. Common. That means lots of people have it. Should I be more selfish? Should I just call the guy and tell him what I think? Should I just be selfless and sit back and wait? What should I do? Should I do one or the other? Well, it shows you that next year you're dedicated to that Neptune sitting there. And then Neptune is kind of like making a promise to God, but I don't like those words. It's kind of like making a promise to your God self. But the Aries stuff says, oh, yeah, but we're not getting lost in it this time. Because when you're too God oriented, other oriented, you can lose yourself. And you can end up saying yes, 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 yes. And people going stomp, stomp, stomp all over you. And that really doesn't work for Pisces, and it really doesn't work for anybody, and it doesn't work for Aries. So obviously what's happening with her chart this year is she is ready to balance the two. And that's why you need to get your hand away from your face and quit thinking about being embarrassed. This is a wonderful kind of balance to get to. Then not all people can do this. I've written in the book that when you're in trouble, when a person's in trouble, where do they go? They run to their sun sign. And usually their answer is the opposite. So when an Aries runs to being more Aries-like, they will work for a while, but their answer is to be more Libra-like, which is us-like, and reverse. So we see wisdom coming to her this year. We don't know why. And when a planet is angular like this, it's very common that it will personify itself through somebody who's Neptunian. You may get somebody who's kind of like Obi-Wan Kenobi in your life. You may get somebody who's kind of like a Swami in your life, a spiritual leader. We don't know. You may get somebody who's very Aryan, pulling you towards the Aries stuff. We don't know. But let me talk to you, Naomi, about this. Unmute yourself, please. Let me talk to you about this. Not to embarrass you, but to talk about how these solar returns are so accurate. Once again, your chart is saying, I'm going to put a lot of focus on me, but I'm going to put a lot of focus on others. And by God, this time, I'm going to get them balanced so I don't get lost either way. Now, tell me what you think of that.
It's exactly what I've been battling with. I've had situations arise where I've had to fight for myself. And to a point, I had to go to court in Indonesia and take on a whole group of patriarchal men to win a right to land that was mine.
That's right. You're telling me about that.
And I won.
Sure.
Yeah, I won, but it was really uncomfortable stepping into that energy. But the whole way through that process, I was really worried about offending people and upsetting people.
Now, okay.
But I did it anyway.
Hold on, please. Great. Do you know why you won? I'm going to give you a strong hunch.
it was the right thing to do. Yeah.
No. You won because you finally fought for yourself without fighting yourself about it. That's why
Yeah.
you won.
Yeah.
That's why you won.
Yeah.
Astrology is smart. Your inner self is smart. Your inner self does not want you screwed. Every time I
No.
get in the car, I say, may this trip that I'm going to happen right now bring nothing untoward towards me. And
Yeah.
I set that intention in motion. That's why, and I'm telling you that if you'd have gone to court 3 years ago when you had more of a tendency to not fight for yourself, there was a much better chance that you wouldn't have won.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Total. Yeah.
Okay. Now, this is wonderful news. This is the proper use of astrology. When you won, you saw how it's kind of not just a win, but it's a balancing of these two things. You're starting to find the energy place inside of you where these two things can be balanced. Because when you are self oriented, you do feel selfish and vice versa. And it's Aries' nature to be self oriented. But you got a
Mm.
strong Neptune in your birth chart, and it's not you. You want to always think of others. Think of others. But see, now we're seeing in your chart this year that it's really important that you get the two balanced. And what this means is throughout the year, as you run into more and more situations, you're going to be able to balance quicker and better instantly.
Mm. Yeah. Because it was
That
hard.
That's how you use the solar chart's accuracy. That's the prediction for next year, but it's not predicting the dark, handsome stranger in the alley at 9 o'clock on Friday night. Shucks. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. Yeah. Very much so.
Okay.
It's exactly what I've been going through.
And so with you, now there are other things in that solar chart. But what I do is stick with the major stuff because the major turning points are such a big deal that let's get
Mm.
those things worked out first before we turn the page to other finer items. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what you're going to find out, you're going to find out that that over dedication towards others was someone else's junk that they taught you.
Yeah.
Someone else's
Exactly.
junk or past life. That
Yeah.
And it's such a joy for me to watch so many people. And one of the things that is happening now globally, more and more and more people are giving their junk back.
Mm.
It's happening everywhere. I want your junk. Take it. I shouldn't have taken it to begin with. Take your stuff. Good luck with your stuff. I wish you the best, but I don't want it. I'm not carrying it anymore. That's happening everywhere. So, congratulations, Naomi. I think it's tremendous. And you automatically see right away, just a couple of symbols, how accurate that solar return is. Okay?
Yeah. That was. Yeah.
Now,
Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Just for the moment, let's try this. I'm going to go to this chart and I'm going to take a peek at next year, okay, which is April of 24 onward. We got Naomi. Where is she? We don't want her to return. There she is. Now we're going to do a return chart for the same town, but for next year, you can't see my cursor. I'm clicking on the word next. Okay, now here's your chart for next year. Look at the difference.
Wow.
Look at the chart next year. And if you're not an astrologer, tell me what this means. What did the rebalancing of Naomi 23 and 24 allow her to do? Try it. Naomi, try it.
Oh, I don't know enough about astrology,
You
but
don't
that
need
looks
to
like
know. What's it look like?
it looks like a massive shift into where it's becoming more about me and more about the direction I want to go.
Going into the future. Yes,
Yeah.
this is the public house. Now that I
Right.
got myself straight, I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot anymore. Next year, I can go ahead with my plans, and
Right.
I can be aggressive, but not worry that I'm going to be too aggressive because I got my balancing act.
Yeah.
What you're looking for through the next few years is not winning successful avenues. It's about moving forward while being balanced, which
Yeah.
you could not do before.
No, it's always
Okay.
been a struggle, a huge struggle.
Well, it's a big deal. It goes way back to the past lifetime, but this is remarkable. Look at what your next lifetime looks like. And most of you people sitting here are going to have return charts next year with all these 6 planets and Aries in them. So very, very good. And see, if you had not gotten to that seesaw balance, you wouldn't have been able to handle that kind of stuff. You'd have been thrown out in public and embarrassed.
Mm.
That's what would have happened. This is a very good sign. And it's even more of a sign of why you should take into your altar the thank you to your Holy Spirit or whatever for working with you on this issue, and thank yourself for being honest,
Mm.
to working on these type of issues, which are not easy. Very good.
No, thank you.
You are welcome, Naomi. Dr. John, I love to call him doctor. I don't know why. He's not a doctor, but I'll call him that anyway. Let me get some of these out of here. My screen is getting so full. Let's take a look here. Yeah, that was really good. Okay, John. Okay. John, you're in Pittsburgh, right?
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to get your return chart, and you're a June Gemini person. So you just had yours. So yours is starting from your last birthday. Here's your solar return. We're going to put it for Pittsburgh, not for Australia. And here you go. And here's your solar return that you're in right now. Let's get it on your screen. This is fascinating. Another thing about this, Rick, you as other astrologers listening, solar returns will help you become a better translator, a better astrologer, because you kind of see different sides of people. Okay, John, we know that you are Mr. Gemini, 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 facts, 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 facts. Also, Mr. Neptune, Mr. Pluto, Mr. Neptune, Mr. Pluto, very spiritually oriented. And you got these two things, these two huge things going on in your natal chart. As of your last birthday, June, July, August, where it just happened, look at your birth year ahead. This is until May 27th of 2024. What's in the first house? The sun. What's in the first house? Venus and Jupiter. Venus and Jupiter are all about happy living, enjoying living, exploring, having fun, enjoying your life. What do you say to me every week? I'm just enjoying my life, Rick.
Hey, Rick,
Yeah.
do you mean to have the 2024 up?
How did that happen?
Probably because you were doing,
Yeah, but I pressed
oh,
current.
you did. You were doing Naomi's 2024.
Thank you for pointing that out. No, you're correct. Let's start. I gotta be so careful with this. Okay, return chart. Yeah, it is on next, you're right. Okay, forgive me. Anyhow, you see what that chart says. That's 2 years away. Here's John's solar return now. Okay. So this, forgive me, this is a chart from your past June until June of 24. Thank you, Miss Secretary. She does a good job. Keep an eye on me. And then we've already got a peek at next year. Okay, what does this say? And this is what I've been telling you all year. I've been telling you this all year in all your readings. We see that the sun is in the fourth house. Basically, that means your main interest in next year is going to be getting John healthier emotionally. And John's not Mr. Emotional Health. John's an intellect. But in this chart, John's putting his focus on getting emotionally balanced in his nest. You want to take a look at the fourth house on anybody, that's what you look for. The fourth house is a person's nest. It's their emotional nest, their home. Okay, what's got to take place first? What's going across the ascendant? Pluto, Venus, Mars. Okay, the T-squared to Jupiter. We see it again, the Pluto, Venus. Okay, so we're seeing again. We looked a year ahead. But we see that in order to prepare yourself for the next 9 months, to get ready for the 24-25, you've got to get the Pluto Venus straightened out. And not only that, I don't like to use this term, got to, you're ready to. The time is ready now for you to get your Pluto Venus, Mars straight. And that means that whatever relationship you're in with anybody, you're going to design them this year so that you win. Period. It doesn't mean they'll lose, but it certainly means you won't. You're not going to lose. You got to recalibrate things for yourself for this next year and whatever this means to you so that you either come out a winner or else less a loser. And that's what Venus, Mars, Pluto is about. It's about being dominated by somebody else, or it's about you dominating them. And this is a message of no more. Oh, don't freeze up on me again. Don't do it to me.
We still have your audio, though.
Well, good, because my internet has been so bad recently. You have the audio?
Yes, we can
Thank
hear
you.
you perfectly.
Thank you very much, Rick. Okay, John, your response.
That's extremely accurate.
What does that mean to you?
Well, it deals with relationships and my relationships, family relationships, people in my life, and things that are going on and how I'm involved in them and can have an influence on them in a way in which I'm comfortable. I thought also before it seemed maybe the wrong chart you had. That seemed accurate too, because
Well, it is, but it's just down the road further.
it's down the road. But these are the happiest years of my life. I mean, I am so.
Well, that's wonderful.
Yeah, that's great. But this also fits right in with.
Well, Venus Pluto means, and I'm really, I don't know why this thing keeps freezing up on me. Anyhow, it means that this is time for you to tackle these issues. And if you were avoiding them, you'd have some really nasty relationships going on. You'd have some nasty events taking them. The fact that you're not avoiding them and you're facing them straight on, Rick, come back. Whatever. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. The fact that you're facing them head on is a really, really good sign. Let me try my start video button again. And hey, hello. Okay.
Nice.
So this is very, very good stuff. Let me explain to you what this means, John. This means that in the past, when you won at certain times, you felt like you were being too dominant or screwing the other. And you're learning now, much like Naomi is, that it's not dominating. But at the same time, I'm not going to let myself be dominated. This is another balancing. It's very much like hers. This is another balancing. Yours has more to do with power. Like if anybody has been getting away with using power over you, no more. Make sense?
Absolutely. I've separated my life. When I'm in court, I was very powerful. When I'm at home, I'm a peaceable person, you know. So I don't want to bring fighting battles at home. I fight them in court, and I was, you know,
Oh,
winning,
good.
winning a lot. So power was big in my life. But I think now that I'm retired, I have family networks and issues to deal with, and I can have a big influence on them.
Well,
But it's not a fight like it was in court. It's more.
that's right. And what I find with these things, here's the real issue of this stuff. You got to be willing to let people have their own stuff.
Absolutely.
That's the tough part, because we feel like we've been trained to go save them, and if we don't, we're screwing them, or we don't like them anymore. That's not the story. You take care of your stuff. I'm there as your friend. I'll be behind you, but I ain't fighting you. Fight for you, and I'm not going to enable you and make you weaker. So you understand. Very
I do.
good stuff, John. Thank you,
I do. Yes.
Miss Anita. Oh, Juanita, I call your name. For you,
I-
for you young people, that's a line right out of a Donovan song.
Yeah,
Oh, Juanita, I call your name.
I am here.
You're old enough to remember that one. Let's
Mhm.
get Anita. Here she is. And we know where she's at.
Mhm.
So I told you guys these things are just awesome. Let's get Anita. And let's go to solar returns and go to Morgantown. And we're going to do, since you just had your birthday, happy birthday, we're going to do current year. So this is your July until next July. Okay?
Okay.
Now, what's interesting about these, I can pretty much safely say I've never seen one where the person said, that doesn't make sense. Never. They're scary accurate. Okay, what jumps out at you right away? Neptune, right on the angle. Where's the sun? 10th house, right next to Mercury. Where's Venus and Mars? This is Miss Creative Lady, too. This is Miss Creative Lady with Venus and Mars together. And have that very nice Virgo rising. So it looks to me like your intent for the next year, you're very close to having Sun opposite Pluto, but you've already been through that. You've been through that the past 4 or 5 years. That's breaking up now. So that inner power struggle that you had to work through is starting to break up now, and it's releasing your sun into the 10th house, which means I'm out here in the world now. I'm going to resume my job or resume my corner store like I wanted to, resume my sales, whatever I want to do. And I feel good about it. In fact, I feel extremely creative. And the main reason I feel so creative is I've done so much successful work with the Holy Spirit. You're going to hear a lot about that on this show because there's nothing else. in my opinion. And when you got the Holy Spirit working with you, you got a A1 advantage. And when you don't, you got an A1 disadvantage. So this is very clear. What do you think, Anita?
Well, I think that I do believe, and I've mentioned this before, that I feel like my backpack is getting much, much lighter. It's held some pretty heavy boulders.
Yes,
Um,
you have. Yes, you have.
mhm. And 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 taking some steps in the future, just it feels very I don't know, loose, but also easy. Whatever I decide to do, I'm completely comfortable with it. I don't know if it will be staying here or moving halfway around the world. I just don't know, but I feel pretty comfortable that I know how to make decisions for myself.
Yes, and with that Neptune there, I'm not going to talk to you about relationships per se, but that's a very strong indicator that the ones that you're in now or the ones that may be coming to you are going to be very spiritually based. And Neptune, when it gets involved in your relationships, it means a spiritual partner.
Okay.
That's what it means. It means I'm going alone or spiritual partner or I'm going alone. That's what it means. When you're younger, it's like, where's my partner? When you get older, it's a spiritual partner or else I'm going alone. Anyhow, it's a wonderful chart. It's another congratulatory chart. I feel very good for you that the Sun Pluto is starting to separate. As I told you years ago, it was coming, told you when it's going to peak, told you when it's going away. So it's not going to become simple, but it's going to become gradually easier. And your issues with moving to the islands, just put it in the hands of the Holy Spirit. You'll get a good answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I know I will. I know I will. I'll be going somewhere soon, and we'll see where that takes me.
Well, please let us know.
Okay, I will, I promise.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Miss Jane, where's the Jane go? There's the Jane. Get her to unmute. Jane's up in England giggling. And
I'm in Australia.
that's
I'm
right. She is in
Yeah.
Australia. I get
Oh,
all
down in Australia, sorry. Down.
you're way down there. I get all these things messed up. Okay,
Doesn't matter.
Jane, there you go. Now we're gonna have to get your city correct. Your birthday
Yes.
is when?
27th of March, 1957.
March, so just passed by. So in the current year. And what is the city you're in?
Where I was born was
No,
Hornsby.
where your body is now.
Oh, okay. It's in a town called Kerrang, K-E-R.
Matter of fact, no. It's where your body was during your birthday.
Okay. In a town in New South Wales, well, near Sydney, called Hornsby, Hornsby. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's why the chart is done for that moment. Okay, here's your look at this. Fascinating. Okay, here's your chart, your solar return.
Ooh.
March 27th of this current year until next March. you see not only the sun, but 5 planets are in Aries in the 3rd house. Now, Miss Miss Jane, what that means is you're going this year by just natural occurrence, you're going to be putting phenomenal power into reshaping your mind. That's what this
Yes.
means. And I have had a lot of good luck with this phrase in the past couple of years. You're going to do a major software update. I don't know how that stuff got here, but get out. I don't know. You get in here. You're nice. You're going to command what software is going to update you and what stuff's got to go.
Yeah.
Because no matter what this chart says, we see renewed emotional life too. We do see that, and added independence from Aquarius rising. But we see mainly in this chart just I want to check out all this stuff that's in between all these cobwebs. How'd you get in there? I want to put some nice new stuff in there. Your reaction?
Oh, I feel interestingly joyous but teary along with it, because it's been a particularly tough year, but I've been really strong in it, even though it's been probably one of the toughest when it comes to dealing with really not awful people, and
Okay.
and staying on top of that, and getting a strength.
Teary sounds okay to me. I want to know what the new mind is going to look like compared to the mind of last year.
Well, it feels that I've got I'm stronger in who I am, and I keep getting the word surrender, Rick. I keep getting this. You've got to just surrender, Jane, because you've been trying to push to I don't know, somehow or other prove your worth. And now I feel like I'm getting to this point that's so opposite to that, to just going,
well, here
I am.
That's tremendous news. And that has not got anything to do with an Aries. That's all Piscean. And the fact that you're getting that urge so strongly is fantastic, because that's how you really go forward. So what I'm hearing up here is not so much replacing this software with that software, it's getting everybody out of the way so spirit can come through whenever it wants to.
That's what it feels like.
Okay.
And my rising is Aquarius and my moon is Aquarius. So there's a lot of
this is a tremendous symbol. A tremendous symbol, not because the symbols are right. And Rick told me on his future oriented show that it's all right. No.
Yeah.
Because you're picking it up correctly. You're picking it up even more refined than what I thought. When Neptune hits us, it wants us, we feel like refining ourselves.
Yes.
Finer people, finer art, finer foods, finer water, finer music. And that's not an Aries urge.
No.
Not an Aries urge or a 3rd house urge. That's the urge from spirit. So you are right on track, and I am 4 for 4 so far.
Thank you, Rick.
I'm really getting lucky. Yeah, that's excellent. Very good stuff. Good stuff. Thank you. Margaret.
Hi.
In let's see her chart here. Margaret in Wisconsin.
Hmm?
And let's get you on a return chart. And you are August 31, Virgo. So you're going to do the current one.
I must, what do you mean today? Oh, that's the,
You're going to have the current
mhm.
solar return. Because your birthday's coming, right?
Yeah, but I'm not in Hornsby.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay.
And what city are you in?
Currently, I'm in Madison.
Madison?
Yes.
Okay. Here we go. And we're going with the current one. Are we having fun yet?
You
Yeah.
betcha.
You bet your sweet Pippi. I think that came from, wasn't that from
Laughing.
Laughing was laughing, that's right. You bet your sweet Pippi. Oh boy, did that show took everything by storm. Look at Neptune. Margaret. Look at Neptune. Look at the sun. Look at Neptune. Look at the sun. Look at Neptune. Look at the sun. That is so big that I could keep saying that. You do have 3 other Aries planets in the 10th house. You do have a very major Mercury. So there's a real shift here of changing my mind, getting my mind working stronger. And you got to be very, very careful when you deal with Virgos, because I work so much with Virgos. And Virgos, I got to be so careful not to talk about what you should do, because they're just so hyper trigger about doing what they should do. This chart is not about knowing what you should do. This chart is once again about picking up from Goddess. Virgo females are obsessed with Goddess, unlike any other sign. And I can understand why it's not God, and it is Goddess. And the Virgin symbol is purity, and the symbol of the Goddess is perfectly making sense. This chart is all about when you got one on this angle, this is where you're standing, where you're going to, where's my platform, where am I going to? This is me, this is others. This is where I'm coming from, where am I going to? This is a person who's trying to align themselves and their heritage. This person is obsessed with getting in touch with what their proper heritage is. Now, I don't even know if there's such a thing. I don't know. Well, you know, when people feel like, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. What are you sensing here? This is all about what the person said previously. This is all about surrender. What Jane said. This is all about surrendering my life direction to Goddess. What's your comments?
I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely trying to make a transition and trying to decide which way to go or how to go.
All
there.
right, that's really important stuff. You're trying to, what have you been doing?
Having surgeries and stuff like that. I haven't had,
Beside that, I'm sorry.
yeah, but I mean, that's
job
been,
sets.
yeah.
Virgos are all job. What kind of job you been doing?
I'm retired.
What kind of job were you doing?
A physician.
Okay, so you're a retired physician.
Mhm.
You're trying to figure out what to do with yourself.
Yeah, there's no purpose currently.
Yeah, well, you're in a very unenviable position because Virgos don't want to retire. The rest of the zodiac does. Virgos don't want to retire. Virgos want to keep working because they get their worth from their work. Now, I'm not here to tell you to retire or not. That's not the issue. What I am here to do is to try to spark what you want to do and show you that it's okay. And that's the hard part with Virgos. So what is it that you want to do?
I do not know.
Okay. That's all right. Do you want to help others?
Yes, but not at the expense of myself, which is sort of
Okay.
the first time around.
That's very Virgoan, yeah. I'll sacrifice myself for everybody else up on the cross. Did you commonly have difficulty allowing yourself to go do what you want to do?
Well, in my work, people come first.
That's not what I asked you.
Well,
That's a good excuse. Have you had trouble in the past that when you wanted to start following your own direction, stopping yourself because you're feeling guilty?
yeah, I guess you could put it that way.
Okay, well, that's a very, very common Virgo answer. It's very common. It's not right or wrong, it's just common. And it's very difficult for Virgos to get past that, but they're getting past that. And I see it happening all the time because of what Neptune's doing to you by opposition to Virgo. Neptune's helping you a lot because so much of what Virgo is fighting against is they don't want to be a bum.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be a lazy bum sitting around doing nothing. They don't want to be unproductive. That's the main word with Virgo. But I'm telling you, if you follow your heart, you're not going to be unproductive. If you follow your heart, you're not going to be selfish. And I'm very interested in your illnesses because the illnesses are directly pointing to what the problem is.
Mm-hmm.
So, what age did you retire?
62.
So, you've been retired 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what in general have you been doing during those 8 years?
Having surgeries. I've been under medical care every single year with stuff.
Did you have difficulties in the intestinal area?
I've had neurologic stuff, I've had intestinal stuff, 2 surgeries in the last year for that.
Okay.
Orthopedic stuff.
Okay. Okay. Now this is what I work with almost every day. What do you want to do?
Run around and have fun.
And when you ask somebody what they want to do, they always answer, I don't know. So you repeat yourself. And they go, I don't know. So you repeat yourself. Then all of a sudden they know.
Mm-hmm.
You said she didn't know. Now she does know. She wants to play.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe the nerve of this Virgo that wants to go out and play? What gall this must take. And if you go and play, how do you think you're going to feel?
Hopefully good. I don't know.
Are you afraid that if you go play that you're going to become wasteful of your energies?
It depends on what I'm doing, but you know, sometimes some of that is just gets boring in itself. Depends on what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I'm here to suggest that playing is going to be much more productive than you think, and the playing is what's necessary to heal. And the playing is going to directly lead you towards your next helping of others. Because Mother Teresa is a Virgo, not by happenstance. Mother Teresa is a Virgo, and when she comes, everybody goes running. Okay, because they know she's going to put them to work. Go play. And if anything starts to stop you, have a talk with it. Have a talk with it. Because the thing that's talking to you has no validity.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have any validity telling you to stop playing?
No.
No. No. Margaret, your answers are very, very typical Virgo answers. And your big answer is to play, but not to play just to play, but to play to get out of the grips of the should.
Mm-hmm.
That's what has to happen. And when you get out of the grips of the should, that's when your body will start to go through major healing.
Mm-hmm.
That's my experience. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
You are welcome. We got 9:05. We're moving along, having a good time. And we got Mr. Sigmund next. On a Virgo female to a Virgo male. Mr. Sigmund.
My man.
Okay, look at this chart. Okay. So let me take a break for a second here. I'll come back. So you're seeing how a solar return can be so valuable, because sometimes it will show you the person doing XYZ, but the chart says you should be doing ABC. What's that a message of? That's a message that they're out of sync with themselves. Well, most of the time when people are out of sync with themselves, they get the hammer and they beat themselves up, because everybody loves to, there you go, everybody loves to beat themselves up. But when you see, Virgo's tough. Virgo's mastery is doing what they should. That's a very tough thing to do. It's a very tough thing to get free of. But you could see in a solar return, it doesn't say what you're going to do. It says what the soul is in need of, what type of expansion the soul is in need of. So let's take a look, Mr. Sig. Okay, now, boy, Deborah gave me a bunch of answers. She's got a lot of things she wants to do. Sigmund in Pittsburgh.
Does it matter that I'm in Canonsburg?
No, it ain't that. It ain't that fine.
Hmm.
It ain't that refined. When one is U.S. and one is Australia, yeah, that matters. No, Canonsburg is not that big of a deal. About like 1 minute of difference. We know your birthday is around now, so we'll pick current. Here's your chart. Okay, Sun is in the 12th. Mars, Neptune across its ascendant in the 7th. Jupiter, Uranus. Look at his grand trine. Mercury, Mars, Moon, Pluto, Jupiter, Uranus. 6 planets in one triangle. The Sun is opposite Saturn. We just had a full moon like yesterday with the Sun and Moon and Saturn. Okay, August 28th. Happy birthday, Mr. Sigmund.
Thank you, Rick.
Okay. It can't help but be noticed that 3 things are sticking out. You've got the Sun, Saturn. You've got the Moon, Pluto, whatever it's trying to do. What is the Moon, Pluto trying to do? And you've got a very powerful Jupiter, Uranus. So we see a lot of learning, spiritual learning going on. You see, this chart is different than most people, because in other people's chart, I may translate it differently, but in your position, this chart is achieving higher, refined emotional discipline. And that's what you're all about. You're not going to be able to stop this from sounding like a job, because it's going to sound like a job if you're a Virgo. It's your job. Virgos have one question. How well am I doing at my job? So be it. So what we see with your chart, other people would be translated much differently. We're seeing higher and higher degrees of emotional discipline. The Moon is next to Pluto, and the Sun is opposite Saturn. So what is it you would like to achieve with further discipline?
Well, let's see. More being in touch with cosmic forces and living a peaceful life. So balancing the upper and the lower chakras.
Now,
By that.
do you see that that's the answer to it? That more emotional and mental discipline will lead you towards those things?
Yeah, I think so. Because as I um, diffuse the triggers of things that are may in the process of being released or are as yet unreleased, calm comes from that. Uh, expanded awareness comes from that. Being less triggered by that stuff in other people. So there's that.
I think you're just right on track. Now, for somebody else, I would not translate that thusly. With somebody else, with you, it's not a pain. It's not hard work. It's the discipline, and that's what you're married to, is that kind of spiritual discipleship. I see nothing but higher success. Because a non-spiritual person would be sitting here bitching and moaning. When's this stuff going to get off my back? And that's how it feels to somebody who's undisciplined. But
Yeah,
you're not emitting that. You're admitting that you're in the groove with it.
it's not pursuing me.
You're in the groove with it, and it's all working out fine. You know who you are? I know you're on a very different kind of trip. It's not a simple one. It's not like a lot of people report to me, but you've been at it a long time, and I mean lifetimes. So I feel real good about it. Let's take a jump ahead 1 year. Why not? We're allowed to. Let's take another jump ahead to Sigmund and a return chart and go to next year. And let's see what it says. This is return chart next. Okay, this is intriguing. Look at this chart. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to look at it for a second. This is next year, and look at the difference is mighty. You're throwing everything into this big T-square of Gemini in the 8th house. This is very intriguing. This is also very hard to translate for an astrologer. We do see the sun in Virgo at the top, and I don't think there's any way that can be translated. But what this is about communicating with the other side. I don't know what those words mean to you. This is about picking up very clear signals of communication with the other side.
Yeah, having access.
Very clear. No static at all. Very clear. I'm not sure why. My guess is it's helping you with your own transformation. But that's what this is about. And notice that Uranus is sitting strongly in the 7th house. This is another symbol of you getting farther and farther away from most people, farther away from the regular American trip. and more
With a
into
Sturm and Drang.
the Sturm and Drang. Yeah, this is really good, and we look 2 years ahead. Now, Claudia's telling me that I can put in any data I want, and I'm not done experimenting with it yet, so I can't speak with confidence on that yet. Thank you, Mr. Sig.
Thank you, Rick.
You are welcome. Let's go to Teresa. And I know this chart, I'm going to pause this. Okay, we'll go to Teresa's chart now. So we'll return October 21st. Of 2023. That's correct. All right. All right. Now, I don't know much of what's going on with you lately, but we see a very clear triangle. Neptune's at the bottom. Neptune being on the angle is always a symbol of your life turning more spiritual during those times. The triangle going to Moon Pluto is everything in your life. You know, I don't care who you are as a Libra, whatever Libra you are, you're always mixed up in issues about relationships in your mind. It's just always about relationships because this is the queen of relationships, this sign. And when you got a T-square going to Moon Pluto, and I've learned this, everybody, this is cool. See these 6 degrees here between here and the Moon and Pluto? I have found this to be true, that the event I'm looking for will come 6 months from now. And I found it to be accurate. 6 months after the birthday. So we're looking at next April. What we're looking at here is you're working very hard, Moon, Pluto, and Capricorn. You're working very hard to achieve emotional balance with your relationships. Emotional balance is what we started out with, where I win, you win, I don't lose, you don't lose, a balance. What do you think, Teresa?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, did you hear that tone of voice? Yeah.
Yeah. I've had to
What's that mean?
well, I've had to look at relationships in my life, and I've had to realize that some of them needed to I needed to shed some of those relationships. And I've learned that the most important relationship is the relationship that I'm developing with myself.
Well, 10-4, but I've talked with you recently, and you seem to be making good progress in this area. I think this is what this chart is, Moon Pluto is. Don't anybody fool with me anymore. I am not the old Teresa. Don't base yourself upon what you think is an upcoming smile.
Yeah.
Because you used to let people off the hook all the time with your little smile, which makes them feel comfortable. Then all the Libras are fine using their tact. Nobody's got any discomfort and nobody's getting anywhere. You talk to me about this. I think this is nothing but, I'm not going to say you're going to get meaner. That's not what I'm going to say. But you're going to become more serious.
Well, I have.
About the line that I'm drawing here is my line.
Right. Yeah, I'm looking out for myself more now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it feels good. It's a wonderful feeling now.
It's a wonderful thing, yes. But the point is, you're not thinking about anything else. See, that's what a return chart tells you. What's on their mind. And then what it's saying to you is if you don't get this, we're not going to go any further. We're not going to advance any further till we get past this. And usually those types of things are erroneous anyway, in terms of, all the bad things that could happen. They're not going to happen. people are going to have more respect for you. That's what I think.
They are already. But I think the most important thing is the respect that I've gained for myself.
Of course, they're directly related. Yeah. I've got to move on, so I will. And I'm not going to let you talk to Linda Platt because she's a Libra who's already had these. She's already had these major types of victories. So all she's going to do is go, yeah, you're right.
Okay, thanks.
There, you are welcome. I want to get to Erica. Very good. It's very good stuff, Teresa. Let's get to our Californian and see what we can do there. Hold on, Erica. Oh, it always gets so warm in here at the end. I'm not sure why. There's Erica. Oh boy, there's the Neptune rising. Okay, now let's get to the return chart. And what city are you in, dear?
I'm still in the San Francisco area.
Okay, for now, that's good enough. San Francisco. Okay, here's your return chart. And your birthday is in the spring. So May, June. Okay, so it's the nearest one. Okay, here you go. This will be my last one of the evening. Okay, this is for April 27th of this year through the same date of next year. And you'll be surprised to see this chart. It's interesting. You have Pluto opposite the moon. Don't worry so much. That's why you gotta all zoom in when you see these things. Oh, it's an opposition. Zoom in, it's 9 degrees. So it's not that strong. See? If you zoom in and it's 1 degree, then you go, oh boy. But this is 9 degrees. So there's some emotional pressure in your chart to get emotionally stronger, but it's not that powerful because it's 9 degrees. Look at the most angular planet in the chart. Where are you going, Erica? Where are you going?
My work life, I guess, asserting myself in service.
Good deal. Mars and Cancer. Where are you go? What are you going to do?
Helping people make their homes better, their home life better, make their homes work for them.
How about Mars and Cancer? That make sense? Exactly, or what? Okay, exactly. Now, one of the ways you're going to achieve this is by taking the generated power between Moon Pluto, which generates in our lower turbulence, kind of like a motor, a humming motor, a boiler, and it's all going towards the 9th degree over here, which is the sun, 7 degrees. So this is about just diving in, shaking hands and saying, hi, how are you? How can I help?
That's what I do every day.
That's
One-on-one relationships with my clients and trying to get them to make their lives more tidy and more happy and more healthy, more organized.
very good, very good.
Because I work with people that have disabilities or, various brain health issues that, live in group homes or, get help from the county and various organizations. So they have a lot of challenges and they have a lot of like medical appointments and health appointments, but I come in and try to help them have more fun in life by making their life go more smoothly and, just figuring out what is frustrating to them and try to clear that up so that they can just, enjoy their life despite all the issues they have to deal with.
Well, what do you think the sign is in the zodiac that has the most enjoyment of life?
Leo? No?
What's
Aries?
the sign? Eric, I appreciate the work that you do. Thank you, Teresa. What is the sign? It's Sagittarius over there going like this.
Oh,
No,
I'm sorry, Sandra. Okay.
she
I
might be.
forget how much
She
fun
might
I
be.
have because I'm
She
not
might be.
Sag.
She might be right, but what I've always learned it was Taurus. Taurus has the most enjoyment out of life. That's a
Oh, when
generality.
it comes to food anyway.
Let me stop for a second. I'm gonna close the show, but I'm gonna remind you about next week. My very good friend Michael Weir will be with me next week. We just talked about it. And Michael Weir, as you may well know, this show started 7 years ago when he and I were going to start our own show, and we were going to call it Love You, Brother. That was going to be the show, him being the hypnotherapist and me being an astrologer. And for whatever reason, it didn't go. So I went on 7 years by myself. And now we're coming back together. And Michael was just outrageous. He's just an outrageous healer. He's doing a lot of work now with it's kind of like the Healy, but it's a much bigger machine. He's doing work all over the world with people, healing all kinds of illnesses. He's not doing any more hypnosis for relationship, well, for cigarettes or for weight gain. He's crossed those off. But he's going to work with you for a lot of what are you doing that's causing emotional blockages that keeping you from growing. And this man is he's nothing but two pedals to the metal at all times. He's born with the sun and Uranus in Aries on the ascendant. So he's Mr. G.O. Let's go. He's a blast. He's one of the nicest people that you'll ever meet. He's been on the show before. Michael Weir, he will be our guest next Thursday night. To those of you I couldn't get to, I'm sorry. I'm just going to do what I can. And it's just a message that you're doing all right the way you are. I was pretty stunned tonight to see that everybody's really in pretty good shape. That's really a good sign. And a lot of really good readings. You see how much you can tell from one planet? Returning back one planet. So very good. Thank you very much. Everybody have a good, safe week. Stay away from the crazies.
Have a good Labor Day weekend. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, thank you all. Stay away from the
you.
Oh,
crazies.
that's right. It's Labor Day already. Oh my God.
Have fun.
Go be
Have
so
fun,
bye.
everybody. Be safe.
everybody.
Have a good
Many blessings, everyone.
Don't eat
too.
too much.